Okay, we're going to do wrist movement. So we're going to take a look at wrist flexion and extension and radial and ulnar deviation. So I have mom here sitting with her elbows supported on the table. We're going to take a look at how she moves her wrist. So I'm going to have you bend your wrist down. That's flexion, wrist flexion, and then come all the way back. That's wrist extension. For radial and ulnar deviation, I'm going to have you turn your wrist just so they can see. And so we're watching ulnar deviation, coming to the ulna, come back to center, and radial deviation to the other side. So now we're going to take our goniometer and do our measurements. I'm going to have the stable arm of the goniometer moving along the ulna down here on the outside of her forearm. The access point is right here at the tip of her ulna. So that's where the access point is. And then we're going to do wrist flexion first. Turn your hand just like that a little bit. Does that hurt your shoulder?
No.
Okay. So I'm here at 0, lined up with that access point, stable arm going down her forearm. This is in alignment here, and we're just going to move your wrist all the way down. She's about 90 degrees of wrist flexion. And then from here, that movement back up, go back down again. So 0 to 90. Oh boy. For extension, and then we have a little hyperextension at the wrist. From 0 to about 45. For radial and ulnar deviation, I'm going to have you put your hand down here. Maybe Brooks, you can come up on top. So the stable arm for ulnar deviation, we're aligning the stable arm down the midline of her forearm. The access point is again here at the wrist. I'm going to put the movable arm in a line with her middle finger here, and I'm just going to have her bring her, making sure my goniometer is at 0, and I'm going to have you just bring your hand over here into ulnar deviation, keeping that in line. So she went from 0 to about 55 degrees of ulnar deviation. Come back to center. 0 is our starting point. Make sure my alignment is good. And then we're going to have her do the same towards radial deviation coming in. And so she went from 0 to about 20 degrees of radial deviation of the wrist.